Yo, if anybody's here. Still making video games. Because that's what we always do. So we're working on a new trash block today, having gotten Meat, Bun, and Rhina's finished last time. So this is going to be... I thought about it some, and this one shouldn't be too hard. So let's take a look in here. So that's the Rhina block. And then I don't have anything beyond... No, I do have the Morgana block there. Morgana block, Morgana block. Okay, so I thought some about how the Morgana block's AI should work, and honest to goodness, it's actually... Like, honest to goodness, it'll work pretty much the same as if there weren't any trash blocks out at all, only with very minor changes. So we're going to go to not holding something. So do I need anything fancy? No, I don't. Okay. So in holding no gems. And then we have when holding gems. You just have to go back up here to... So when holding gems... Yeah... Okay, so we already know at this point that we're holding something because we checked quantity up there, so we need to worry about that. We also do not need to worry about it being too high. We don't need to specify that this is when you're holding gems. So the first thing we do is set our destination if we're not holding anything. No, if we are holding something. We set a destination to have gem, find gem. If we're over our destination, we grab... If our destination is 0... then we also check if there is no dig destination, because the AI is going to work a little bit differently there. Then we find a dump and throw them. No, that's if there is a dig destination. So if there is not a dig destination, so we're not digging, then... Yeah, so if we're holding more than 3, then we just throw them and don't worry about it. Otherwise, we find a good dump spot and throw them there instead. If there is a dig destination, then we do the same thing. We toss it in the lowest place. So that is pretty alright. And then to the Morgana block down here. So prioritize high blocks if too high. I want to keep that comment in. We do not need to check the quantity is 0, because we do that already. So for each gem in ascending order within the field... Do I have field back specified? Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah, so if we're doing the thing, then we set our destination to the highest point. We do not need to worry about setting too high. Or do we? I think we do, actually. Stop the loop, set destination, or to... No, if we're at the destination of the highest point, just grab them. So we don't have to worry about too high otherwise. So if we don't get anything out of that... Do I have, like, something in tofu for... Yeah. I just have the exact same thing in tofu. So otherwise, our AI is... We do not need to check quantity, because we should be not holding anything. I checked that earlier. So we look for a match. So if we find a match, then we initialize digging, and then if we're over our destination, do the thing. If we do not find a match, then we have to start digging. So if there's not, or if there is not a match, and there is a dig destination, then just go towards the dig destination. If we're over there, grab them. I'm not sure what that says. Oh, this is for ending the dig, if we actually grab the thing we're looking for. If there is no dig destination, then we get a dig color, something for us to search for. If we successfully got a dig color, set our dig destination to that, go there, and then we have just a catch-all of if crap don't work, then don't do anything, just kind of sit there. So some aspects of this are going to have to be changed in order to deal with Morgana. Specifically, I don't know if the AI is built to handle garbage. Like, I think it assumes that there is no garbage. So I'm gonna run it real quick so I can... Honestly, just so I can inspect what exactly the AI does and figure out where I have to start. Because I feel like one thing it's going to do is, if 3 garbage gets sent down, it's going to grab all 3 garbage because it thinks it can make a match out of them, and then throw them back down even though it can't make a match with garbage. So I think that's the first thing that I may have to change. Once it's successfully ignoring garbage, It's frustrating because I don't know if I actually use any of these applications anywhere. Like, if I use any of these functions anywhere. Okay, so that's not enough for it to make a match yet. So, hopefully it doesn't do anything too funky with them. Well, right's done fudged up, and I think I know why. There, Daisy. I don't know what the crap it's doing. What is it doing right now? Like, I think maybe it's trying to dig? This AI, like, almost just works already, just ignore it. No, left's not working. Left's done. Left's broke. Left is broke. Why is left broke? It's not doing what I thought it would do. So on one hand, that's good. But on the other hand, I'm not actually sure where it's getting stuck. Okay, so let's go... Let's try this again in debug, and I'll pause as soon as it breaks. And we'll see where we need to go from there. It's not advancing the gems. Okay, that's one problem. That's an easily solvable problem. Okay, here we go. So this is the trash, so we're looking for also a 9 or 11. Wait, isn't 9... Nine is meat bun, so if we're advancing during meat bun, then we also need to advance during Rhina. Okay, this is just 8, 9, 10, 11, so this is going to be a lot easier to go greater or equal to 8, less or equal to 11, and not make it an OR block. It's 2 less function calls. Okay, now left is broke. So, let's see here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. There are 26 gems. So if there's 26 gems, then that means they are not going to advance gems. So that's actually correct. So what the AI should be doing right now is digging. It should be digging. It can't make a match with anything it immediately sees, so it should set a dig destination. So why isn't it setting a dig destination? So dig destination looks for what's on top. See, I see 2 yellows on top, I see 2 browns on top, and it can't dig for either of those. It should see those 2 reds, though, and realize that if it digs for another red, so let's go take a look at Morgana. So Morgana is currently holding nothing. We're not prioritizing if too high. So we are currently holding no gems. So we'll run no gem find match. No destination will be found. If there is a dig destination, there is not a dig destination. So we need to be setting dig color to no match, find 2. This could be where it's messing up. And it's not getting a dig color, or it could be in setting dig destination to NPC find dig spot. Like, it will probably be one of these two that's the issue. Oh yeah, the Nintendo World Championships are on now. I think Proton John was re-streaming it. Oh, so I guess Nintendo's down right now, or maybe it's just not starting? Oh. Okay, so NPC, no match, find 2. Let's go look for that one. No match, find 2. What is this function doing exactly? Okay, so we got move check, so we know not to worry about that. I need to comment my code. Okay, so we're looking at the far left, I guess. And repeat 7 times. Man, how did I write this code? No, it's just like it's doing enough in a complicated way that like I'm having trouble wrapping my head around what the code is doing. It's more like surprise that like I managed to write this somehow. Okay, then we have this temp count greater than or equal to 2. Where this would have found those two. Yeah, this should be returning the correct temp color, I feel. Because it's just looking for 2, and it should find these 2 reds. And then it looks over the entire thing and says, yeah, we're actually finding a bunch more reds. So, like, that total should be greater than or equal to 3, so we return red. So we should be working there. That should work. So instead... So if dig color does not equal -1, set dig destination to find dig spot. So find dig spot. Yeah, I don't see why this doesn't work either. So that's always concerning. So let's go up here. So we're not holding something. She's getting stuck when we're not holding something. So... Metroid game is being played now. Why can't I get the stream to run? I did, like 8 times. I just... Nah. I just won't watch. I'm already streaming. I'll worry about that later. I got more important things to do than, like, debug a stream. Yeah, I guess we'll just run this and see when it... Color is 11. Oh. It's trying to dig for... Okay, yeah, so the problem is in No Match Find 2. No Match Find 2. Okay, I think that'll do it. So let's go try this again. Oh, right stuck. Right stuck because find two color is returning -1. So it's just having an impossible time finding 2. And 1 second. Okay, so probably the best way to do this now. So I feel like the best way to do this now is to set dig color. If dig color would return -1, search for anything that we have that we have 3 gems of the same color of. Just find 3 gems. And then we would know, hey, we're digging for red in this situation. And in that situation, if it were going to dig for red, it would run dig into this. Yeah, so I'm thinking that's going to be the best case, and this will also make the main AI more robust as well. So this is all within this. So the first thing we search for is... Oh, I'm adding comments to this. I think I may just make a new function instead of trying to make this one function multi-purpose. Okay, so, this is going to be NPC... Fine... 3... dig. Okay, so we're going to repeat 5 times. Loop index is 0 based, right? So if I repeat 5 times, the final time should be 4. Okay. We're gonna find out. Okay, so we're repeating 5 times, so we're going to use loop index for gem color. I'm going to grab this. What do you mean I can't paste here? Shut up. Paste what you can. Oh my goodness, just paste it. This isn't hard. Why can't I paste this?
Why is it saying you can't paste it?
It's a May reference.
Temp color.
Oh, piece of crap.
Jesus.
Temp color, temp color. Why are you even using temp color? Okay, so this should theoretically work. So let's go back up here under the AI. Let's see here, not holding something, dig, dig, dig. Oh no. Okay, so if dig color returns -1, so it did not find 2 available to grab, then instead run find 3 dig, which will give it a color that there are 3 gems of. After that, as long as dig color is not -1, we set dig destination, we set destination, and all of that fun stuff. If at this point destination is 0 or dig color is -1, still just sit there, because at that point it's going to be a different problem. So that should do a lot of good. In fact, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put this into the regular AI. And that should make a much more robust AI. Now let's just hope it doesn't break. At least not for that reason. Okay, AI got stuck again. What's the problem? Find 2. Color is still -1. Oh, find 3 is -1. Why is find 3 -1? No. Why isn't the function working? Why isn't the function working? It's certainly not counting them right. So that's rocking. What's the AI even doing right now? Ugh. Yeah, right there from the get-go. Find 3. Loop 0, count 0. Loop 0 means it should be finding blues. So loop 3, count 0 should be loop 3, count 3. So what's going on? This isn't that complicated. Why is it not finding anything? Like, it's this function right here. Or it's this loop right here. Why is this loop not finding anything? Okay, so this is just a little frustrating. Oh, I'm an idiot! That's always the case, isn't it? Alright. That works. Okay, so holding on to something. This will be probably our chief point of having to change the AI around in order to get it to even function. Oh, Air Gamer, the problem is I'm an idiot. That's not new. The problem was that I've got another loop here. So when I reference this loop index, I want to be referencing this loop's loop index, but instead I was referencing this loop's loop index. Which is gonna be everywhere, and completely different for every gem. Like, it'd be a miracle if this ever happened to line up correctly. So yeah, as it turns out, I'm just stupid. Okay, so let's see here. So this is... so we are holding something. So if our quantity is greater than or equal to 3... So if we're holding 3 things, if there is a dig destination, so we're not messing with that. There's no more gems to grab, so we don't have to worry about that. So we're predominantly looking right here at if quantity is greater than or equal to 3. Instead of throw gem, we're going to be setting this variable to... find nearest trash. And then we always have to have the condition after that, of that. And that should at least make it so if there is trash around, Morgana will want to throw it on top of... Like, if they have enough to make a match, they're going to want to throw it on top of garbage. You doing alright? Alright, let's watch some AI play. And bam! Oh, look at that crap. It's like it... Wait, what? No, why?
Oh no.
Gotta put a conditional in for if it's 0. I do love so much that the most common error that I run into is the clown just leaving the playfield. So you can watch it and go like, okay, what's the AI doing now? No, wait, why are you doing that?
Oof, these bird rights should not be next to this coaster.
Okay, let's try that again. Like, that's working amazingly. That is working absolutely amazingly. But what if they're going faster? What if they're going even faster? What even happened there? Okay, so there does get to be a problem, and I'm gonna have to think about how I actually want to approach this one. Of if you're holding too many of Morgana's blocks. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is... So instead of calling grab all, we're just going to be calling grab gem. So if we're at our destination, if the destination is a trash block, only grab one, otherwise grab all of them. I also then need to look up here to... So this is if we are holding something. So I set the destination to have gem find gem. Holding is less than 5. Okay, let's try that and see if that changes anything. What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know how it got caught in that mess. I knew what it was doing at the end, finally. But it looked like it was doing grab all. It's doing it again. What is it doing? It's grabbing one and throwing it back down. Throwing it back down is fine, but then why is it grabbing one? is it grabbing one ever? You're gonna make me do this crap again.
So someone was sending out really bad phishing emails imitating the YouTube copyright claim system.
Hmm.
It looks pretty similar, except instead of "why did this happen," it says "why this can happen." Why this can happen? Anyway, be careful about phishing emails imitating YouTube. But also, why this can happen? Make dinner soon.
You can go ahead. Yeah, whenever. Dig found. Dig found? What's it trying to dig for? It does make sense, though. It's grabbing it because it's trying to dig to something. So here I just have a catch-all. To always throw garbage at the lowest space possible. When what I should be doing because I want to override this grab all. That's the big one. Hey there, Gabe. What's this? This is a competitive puzzle game that I'm working on. Now's as good a time as any to take a brief break from it. So there are 9 playable characters that you can choose from. Oh, alright, I didn't set them as AIs. Try that again. So the idea is... Oh, this is going way too slow. So the idea of the game is it's effectively a match 3, where you have to grab 3 gems and then throw them back down in order to make a match. The goal, however, with unlike a lot of games like this, is not to block your opponent out by getting their blocks to the top of the screen, but instead to reach a kind of quota. You can see their quotas are currently 13. Every gem that you destroy adds 1 to that quota. The first one to 200 wins. Now what you can do is make combos. If you make 2 matches within a certain amount of time from each other, it will increase your combo gauge and send a garbage block to the opponent. your opponent then has to deal with that garbage. And each playable character has a different kind of garbage that can be sent to the opponent. So the garbage that you send over is intended to slow down your opponent, as well as give you more score. For example, the character on the left sent that one gray block to the character on the right. The block on the right can only be destroyed by putting 4 blocks on top of it. And of course, if you make a match on top of it, then those blocks go away, so that doesn't count. Now, the character on the right just sent a gem to the character on the left, which is that arrow. Now, that one is a little dangerous, because whenever you throw it down, the first time you throw it down, it'll destroy all gems underneath it, and send all of that score to the opponent. So what you want to do is dig down all the way, and then toss it on the bottom, so that it gives as little score as possible to the opponent. Okay. So, if you want to see something a little bit faster, this is still not terribly fast, but it gets the idea. You asked what program I use. I use Construct 2, which is, I guess, kind of a form of scripting language instead of actually getting down into the nitty-gritty.
Technically, it's considered an integrated development.
Alright. Integrated development environment is what I'm told.
I think that's technically what it's considered.
It's a scripting language. It's a scripting language.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scripted, basically.
So, I mean, you say you wish you could make video games, but it's actually not super hard, but you have to know how to approach it. Like, it depends very much on what kind of game you want to make.
Type in the URL sorting h.at.
What?
Sorting h.at. Direct them to that, because it's a really great resource.
So what is this exactly?
It's basically an interactive tool set guide that goes through, like, it basically asks what kind of games you want to make and recommends tools based on that.
Alright.
It's really great. I really recommend going through that guide.
Alright, well, there's something. But yeah, if you want to learn how to make games, it's, you just have to be willing to approach it and learn. You can't just sit down and say, like, alright, well, I want to make a Zelda game. Like, where do you even begin if you're approaching with that? So, like, what you would want to do is... I saved this. I'm just going to open up a new project real quick. So, what you would want to do is start out somewhere super basic. Get rid of that. The new project. And in something like this, what you want to do is insert new object. We're just going to put a sprite in. And it's just from this giant list. This list is kind of intimidating, but like 90% of what you're going to add in is sprites. Let's just add a sprite in. So I clicked somewhere to put it in. This is just a thing to let me give it a graphic, so I can grab a color, I can fill, and now I got a big green square. Okay. I'm real quickly going to make this just a little bit smaller. Okay. So there, now I have a little sprite on. I'll get back to this in 1 second because dinner is ready. We will go from there. So be back in 1 second. Okay, we're back. Okay, so we got a thing. So what are we going to do? Let's make a platformer. So I'm going to put another sprite in. Sprite in. I'm going to fill this one with, I don't know, blue. And we're good. I'm making a platformer. Okay, so this is going to be our floor. So I'm just going to grab it, I'm going to stretch it so we get a floor. So, cool beans. Okay, we got that. So now comes the part where we actually have to do a little bit of coding, and I'm going to be honest, there are a lot of presets in this. I don't know how. It will literally be faster for me to program it by hand.
It'll be maybe faster for you, but I think it'll be less understandable.
Like, if you want to teach them how to make a game, but I can just knock this crap out.
Alright. Make it a platform. Alright, take your blue object, click on it.
Okay, Barry's gonna talk about this because I don't know how to use the presets.
Click on behaviors. Wherever you put that piece of UI, you have your, the link. It brings up a window. Right now it's empty. Click on the plus sign. You have a big old list of behaviors. What you want for a floor or wall or anything like that that doesn't move is a behavior called solid. And you see down here, there's a description of what it does. Makes the object impassable so other objects cannot move or fall through it. And that is exactly what you want. Now click on your green dude, add a behavior. You want a behavior called platformer. Might be in movements. Yep, there's movements, platformer. Looks like a platformer dude. Can I make phone apps with it? How much is this program thing? Construct has a free version. You can use it for an unlimited number of days, so as many days as you want, but you have some feature limitations, so you can only use 100 lines of code, which for a lot of things, especially if you're using behaviors like the solid and platformer behavior that we just went through, you can do a lot of things in 100 lines of code, especially if you utilize behaviors instead of lines of code. Anyway, so now you have a floor and a green dude with a platformer behavior on it, so run your layout. You see he automatically has gravity. You can move him around, and you can jump.
Look at that crap.
And that is the basis for any platformer, and you've done that with no code at all. Now if you want, of course, you can use... Oh, you probably just fell off the edge, because you have no walls!
Farewell!
Goodbye! Step 2, make a wall. Anyway, you can, of course, use code to make things much more robust and customizable than the default behaviors. So if you click on the green guy and you go down to the behavior, you can see there's default controls, and right now it's selected yes, so hit no instead. And if you run your layout now, you won't be able to do anything anymore, but he will still have gravity. Yeah, so you're not using the default controls anymore, which means you can make your own control scheme in the code. So if you want to do that... Actually, do you have the keyboard object in it? No, you don't.
I haven't done jack yet.
Add the keyboard object.
Because you stopped me before I did anything.
So if you want to add your own control scheme, you've got to add an input method, so we're going to use keyboard. And now is when you want to open up your event sheet. So add an event. And so what we want is, if the left or right button is held down, we want to move left or right. So we don't want L on a key pressed, we want keys down. We pick our key. And then add an action on the sprite. And you have all of the actions in platformer, and you want to simulate control. And we want to simulate control right. So there is one event. It consists of a condition, or multiple conditions, and an action, or multiple actions. So you do the same thing for left. Yeah, that's probably the easiest way to do it. And then for jump, we don't want to jump if the key is held down, we want to jump on key pressed. So there's that distinction there, is if you look, yeah, just hit up. If you look next to that keyboard input, up arrow pressed, you see that green arrow. That means it's waiting. That's a trigger. It's waiting for you to press the up arrow. Whereas the one above it, left and right arrow is down, there's no green arrow next to it, which means it'll do it every single frame that that button is down. So then for the sprite, you want to simulate controlled jump. And now, in the code, we just made it so that the controls are back to what they were before. If you want to use WASDA, all you have to do is change these to W, A, and D. And that's how you merge the code, you know, merge using events with behaviors, so that you can make more robust behaviors than the defaults that they give you.
Yeah, and that's entirely given the presets that are put in the game already. And if you noticed over here, there were all of these values for speed and acceleration and deceleration and jump strength and gravity.
Mm-hmm.
They're
You
all
can also add a double jump.
Yeah,
and
double jump.
Sustain. So if you select jump sustain, then like if you change it to something that's above 0, then like you can hold the button down, as far as I know. Anyway, you can change all those values off of default too.
And that gives you a lot more control over making this exactly how you want it to be. This is Construct 2. So that way you don't even have to rely on default controls. You can actually, even with the behaviors already put in the game, you can change some numbers around and get it to feel exactly like you want it to feel like, and there we have a platformer.
Yee. Or at the very least, the most basic.
The most basic of a platformer.
Yeah. You can run, you can jump, you can fall off the edge.
How many days is the trial? The trial is unlimited. But
Number of days.
The number of days is unlimited, but there are certain limits on what you can do with the program. Some features are limited, and the number of lines of code you can have, which we only have 3 here, is limited to just 100. Which, that's actually enough for a number of very small projects.
Yeah, it's definitely enough to get your feet wet.
Yeah. Like, more than enough to get your feet wet and see if it's something you actually want to mess around with. And that's using the very basic behaviors that are already put in the game. you can, as I was about to do, just do it all manually.
Yeah, you can do it all manually.
That's going to take more lines of code. I feel personally like it gives me more control over what's going into the game, so anything that I've programmed, I've done almost 100% manually. I tend not to rely on behaviors. But if you wanted to do that...
Yeah, I guess get rid of the behaviors if you're going to show that off. Yeah, you tend to do everything manually. I tend to err on the side of the best kind of work to do is the kind of work that lets you do the least amount of work. If that makes any sense.
And my kind of argument against that is, well, if you ever run into a problem, then you may not have as much control as you need in order to solve it, or maybe the problem is with the behavior inherently. Whereas, I know, if I programmed it myself, I have access to all of it.
Look, the only unsolvable problems that I've had so far are with A-star pathfinding, which, let me tell you, pathfinding is not something you want to delve into. Oof. Hooey.
Okay, so, if you want to do this on your own...
And creating a load system.
So if you want to do this on your own, which you probably don't, but I'm going to show you anyway, is I'm going to grab this thing, I'm going to name it Floor, so it's easier for me to know what it is. Floor is reserved. Okay, shut up.
Oh yeah, because floor is like ceiling and floor.
And then we have the player. Now, what you can do is you can add instance variables, which is just a number that you can reference kind of whenever you want to reference it, onto each object. You can add as many as you want onto each object. I'm going to add one onto the player here, and I'm going to call it xvel for x velocity. Then I'm going to add another one for yvel, or y velocity. So x velocity and y velocity on that thing. Now I'm going to go over to the event sheet, and we're going to take this super slow. So I'm going to make a blank event here because I want this to happen always, where I take the player and I add to y velocity 1. So I'm going to add 1 to y velocity every frame. And then I'm also going to do... So I'm doing velocity-based movement and acceleration-based movement. You can also just go 1 pixel at a time. And say if you're moving right, you're just, as long as you're holding down right, you will move 4 pixels per frame, always. But I'm going to do something a little fancier than that. So a little bit of math here. Since I'm adding 1 to y velocity, that means I now have an acceleration on this object of 1. But what we're going to want to do is move the object every frame by its velocity. So we're going to, and it's a huge list of things, we can set y, so set our y coordinate, so we can put this somewhere else. Now where do we want to move? Well, we want to move where we already are, so self.y, and then we want to add our y velocity to it. So we take where we currently are and move an additional amount equal to our y velocity. So that plus y vel. Nope, y vel is on the thing. So self.y vel. So now we have an object with an acceleration, and it moves based on that acceleration. So if we run the layout, we'll see it go whoop right through the floor. I'm gonna lower this velocity to like 0.5. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna want to do is make it actually interact with the floor. So I'm gonna add another event after this one, and I'm going to say if the player is overlapping another object, and then I'm going to click on the floor. So if the player is ever overlapping the floor, I'm going to take the player, and I'm going to set its y to be self.y minus 1. Okay, so I'm actually going to add another condition to this. I'm going to go into System and grab while. One of a number of loops that you can add in, but this will just repeat this action until this is no longer true. So while the player is overlapping the floor, we're just going to keep moving it up 1 pixel until it's no longer overlapping the floor. When we do this, we're also going to want to set our y velocity to 0 because we're on the floor, and we don't want our y velocity increasing exponentially while we're standing on the floor. So set value, y velocity to 0. Now we should theoretically hit the floor. Boop. And there we are, we're on the floor. Kind of hovering there a little awkwardly, but that's fine. That deals with stuff like hitboxes and other things that I'll get into here. Okay, so I adjusted hitbox just a little bit to get that to work. And what I'm going to do here is when I add y velocity, so I'm not adding in fractions, I'm going to do round this number. So that'll round that to the nearest whole number, so my y velocity should always be a whole number. Now we're going to run it again. And hey, now it's sitting flat on the floor and everything is happy. We currently can't move it all, though. So we do still have keyboard in, so what I'm going to do is key is down. I'm going to go with right arrow again. So while the right arrow is down, I'm going to add to our x velocity 1. So as long as you're holding down the right arrow, your x velocity will increase by 1 each frame. I'm going to copy and paste that. I'm going to set this to left arrow and do the same for -1. Now I run it, and... oh, I don't actually move it based on x velocity. That could be a problem. So I'm going to grab these and move them up here. And then I have this down here. I'm going to do effectively this same thing. But I'm going to, instead of self.y, this is going to be self.x. And we're going to take our x velocity and add that to it. I'm also going to want to change this, so instead of set y, we're on set x. So there. So set x to self.x plus round self.x velocity. Okay, now we should actually be able to move. Look at us! Zoom! 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 We're gone. We have a wade. So you'll notice, though, that right now there's no way to stop. Unless I just happen to hold it down and, like, even it out both ways. Zoom! So when I have these are down, I'm going to want to add another one in. That's keyboard. Key is down left. Keyboard key is down right. And then I'm going to right-click on this and go down to invert. So as long as left arrow is not down, and right arrow is not down, we're going to set our... This is going to get a little funny. We're going to set our x velocity to self.x velocity we're going to want to add the negative, so subtract, of self.x velocity divided by the absolute value of self.x velocity. So what that's gonna do is, if our x velocity is positive, then the absolute value of our x velocity is going to be positive. So we're going to take a number, divide it by itself. So 3 divided by 3, say, is going to be 1. So we're going to take our x velocity of 3 and subtract 1. If our x velocity is negative, on the other hand, the absolute value of a negative is a positive. So we're going to have, say, negative 3 divided by the absolute value of negative 3, which is positive 3. So negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. So our x velocity is currently negative at negative 3, so it's negative 3 minus a negative 1. If you subtract a negative number, that's the same as adding the positive number, so we have negative 3 plus 1. So what this will do is will constantly move us towards 0. And then I'm going to add one more in the middle of this that says if your where instance variable x velocity is greater than negative 0.1, and x velocity is less than 0.1, set x velocity to be 0. I'm going to put that right up there. Those are our velocities. Now, if we are on it... I disappeared. I've clearly done something wrong.
What did you do?
I've disappeared.
And this is why I use behaviors.
Okay, alright.
You're setting your velocity to negative.
Where?
What are you doing?
What do you mean? I'm slowing you down if you're not holding down a directional key.
Self-x velocity divided by...
I just spent like 5 minutes explaining what this was.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to everything you do all the time. I would never get anything done if I did that.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I remember having problems getting this to work before.
Wait, are you dividing by 0?
Probably.
You are!
Yeah, if your x velocity is 0, then, yeah, there's your problem. Add another condition,
I'm dividing by 0, maybe?
There we go. Now it also won't do it if your x velocity is 0. That explains why it just disappeared. There we go. Now it works perfectly.
Heck yeah.
There's
Goodbye!
currently no cap on your x velocity, so that's a problem.
It's not a problem.
It's a feature.
Pshaw.
That's real easy to do, though, if you just go into compare instance variable x velocity. If x velocity is greater than, I don't know, let's say 5, set x velocity to 5. So nice and easy. And then we have to do it again for negative. So if you're less than negative 5, set x velocity to negative 5. There, now you should have a cap on speed.
You're so slow. Say get rid of the cap. Just start setting up to stream myself.
I'll set it up to 10. Okay, there, double our speed. Okay then. Now, the easiest way to make it jump is go right up here, add another. Nope, not another condition. Add new event above, keyboard, on key pressed, up. Player, let's see here. Set value, y velocity to negative 30. So now whenever you press up, your y velocity will be set to negative 30. Maybe negative 30 was a little much.
Huh.
Pachoo! 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 So right now you can air jump. Because there's nothing saying that you can't press this in the air to continuously set this up. So something else you're going to add is another condition that says player is overlapping at offset floor and a y offset of 1. So now you should only be able to do it if you are overlapping the ground at offset 1. You should not be able to do it in the air, which I can't. I'm pressing the button a whole bunch. So there we go. Giant jump. Super cool. So that's all 20s. I set it to negative 30 when you jump. I'll set that down to negative 15. I also made you faster again. So you can only jump that high, but man, you can book. So there we go, basic platformer. There's currently no jump modulation. That would be a whole nother ordeal. I'm not going to get into that tonight. But yeah, look at me go. So there we go. Programmed a very basic platformer in 10 lines of code. Only 7 lines of code more than a behavior. Admittedly, the behavior let you also do more from here. Like, I have done as much here as we could do with the behaviors that we had programmed before. Just the very basics that we put in. But also with the behaviors, you could add in jump modulation, the double jump, all of that, with no additional code.
Yeah.
Whereas I would have to put in additional code for that. But a very basic platformer. There we go. There's the code for it. And it's acceleration-based, too, which is how you want it to be.
Wait. If you had walls, would walls work?
No, not right now.
It would work with the platformer behavior.
Well, you'd have to add something else to it. You wouldn't have to add extra code, but you would have had to put walls in.
Would walls work with extra code, or with no extra code?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Is that you wouldn't have to.
All I'm saying is I have replicated what we had before,
Okay.
and I have done that.
I'm just saying.
I have not
replicated. In addition to jump modulation and double jump.
I have not replicated what we could have potentially done before.
Long story short, probably if you're just getting started, you might want to explore the behaviors.
Probably, yeah.
I think you need to make a racing game.
Zoom. In fact, I would have to change things around a little bit if I also wanted to collide against walls, because right now we assume all walls are floors. So if I made a wall and I rammed into it, it would shoot me straight up. So what I would want to do instead is when you're overlapping a floor sprite, I would move you... Effectively, I would do what I did up here with the absolute value of your velocity, to move you 1 pixel at a time in the opposite direction that of the collision. Like, if you collided going down, then I would boost you up until you weren't colliding anymore. And then I would also say, if you're colliding left and right, I will also then boost you left and right until you're not colliding anymore. If you really want to get into that, that's also where, after I move you via X, which is what I do right here, I would want to do X collision right after moving you via X. That way I know if you moved, it was due to an X movement. And then I would move you Y, and then I would check Y collision. So it wouldn't be a huge amount more work, but it's more than I'm getting into tonight, considering I just wanted to sit down and make a stupid platformer to have fun. Okay, so I'm going to close my project. I'm not going to save it. I'm going to open up Puzzle back up and figure out what the crap was I even doing before I got involved in that.
I don't know, but I streamed in less than 10 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll figure out what it is that I'm doing, and we'll go from there. Oh, that's right, so my problem here was I needed to cancel this set destination. I needed to not do this set destination. So I think an easy solution for that would be to grab these and move them up here. Put the hold right there. So now I'll only set a destination here if my holding is less than 5. So I'll only run the NPC have gem, find gem. So then I need to look down at the dig destinations, where... If there is no... Because I need it to run this is what I need to do. Okay, so the problem I've got now is... So if there is no dig destination... So I should be grabbing these one at a time. This is gonna cause problems. I'm gonna grab these and drag them back under here. Alright, well, you know what? What I'm gonna do is... I'm gonna stop streaming because Barry's going to start streaming.
Yee.
But I'm probably going to take a bit of a look at this and figure out what's going on and what I can do. Maybe how I need to rearrange things. If I do any work at all on this, I'll be sure to show you guys at the start of the next stream. If it looks like it's going to be something more involved, then I'll just leave myself a note and we can work on it next time. So, until next time, everybody, I'll probably stream some more tomorrow. So, later, everybody. Head over to Barry's stream. Twitch. Twitch.tv/Madam Barry.
I don't know, just the pronunciation.
Madam Barry?
The first time you said it was like Midam.
Making fun of me? I'm trying to give people a link and you're making fun of me. I'm leaving.
Oh no, where are you going?
Bye, everybody.
Oh